I think Brazil in the last 6 games they've lost or they haven't been able to beat Argentina. But historically, Argentina really beats them. And I think one of the real reasons, and I think it's going to continue getting worse, is that Argentina focuses on CDMs, on midfielders, and they have every type of midfielder you can think of, guys who hold the ball, guys who distribute, and they always have a playmaker like Messi or Maradona. Who's the other guy that they have? Ortega, who was the guy back in the day? They always have a super number 10. They didn't even have Messi yesterday, but they had Macalista put up their lineup,
Yeah.
and they work hard. Came back. Argentina has a spine, everything from their defenders to their CDM to the midfield, all the way up forward to the striker. They have structure. They don't play the most beautiful football, but they get it done. And
Yeah, so basically, I think the Argentine team were more structured, more cohesive. They were passing the ball in a more organized way. Like you rightly mentioned, they have better midfielders. With the combination of Paredes, McAllister, and then Enzo Fernandez, their skill set kind of complement each other. And they made it very, very difficult for the Brazilians to get on the ball. And if you look at it, it is rather unusual to find such a Brazilian team that is not so cohesive, no tidy passing. They kept pressing them out of
go
possession.
go to Brazil. Go to Brazil's lineup. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
You keep talking while you're doing it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Brazilian lineup. And if you look at the midfield, the only person I recognize is Joelinton that plays for
They don't even
Newcastle.
really have a midfield.
They
That
don't
that
really
even
have a
the shape of
midfield.
their team is rubbish here. It's rubbish here.
They
Yeah.
really don't, yeah, they really don't have a midfield. Only Joelinton. I know Joelinton plays for Newcastle.
Yeah.
No real notable midfielder that can really dominate the ball. And I
Yeah.
think that's what really made the difference in that
Then they have
match.
Rafinha on the right, Rodrigo on the left,
Rodrigo
and
and then
Junior.
Matthias Cunha.
All three of these people are actually wingers. You get my point.
Yes,
They don't
yes.
have a number
They don't,
nine.
yes, they don't have an out and out number nine.
Well, Fernandez and Alvarez are sort of strikers. So Vinicius is playing attacking midfielder, right? Yeah,
Yeah, Vinicius is playing as an attacking midfielder, yeah. But
which is still
he was
not his
swapping
natural
positions
position.
with Rodrigo a couple of
Yeah,
times.
it's not natural position. And this goes. Brazil is a team made up of only wingers. In fact, that's all Brazil produces anymore.
Yeah,
They even have the other
wingers.
guy, Fabinho, who's not even here. They just make wingers. Their defense. Can you speak to their defense? They didn't even have their best defense. What about
Yeah,
Jesus?
the most experienced guy here is Marquinhos, who plays for PSG. This Murillo and Arana, I think they're home-based players. Back in the days, they had a 2 and a 3. They had fullbacks that were notable. Remember the good old days of Roberto Carlos and Cafu? They don't even have those kind of players anymore. It's like there's a dearth of talent in the Brazilian team. So, and this is just not good enough. Even if they qualify, which I think they will eventually,
They'll qualify. Yeah.
I don't think they'll pass the first round. This is a poor excuse for a Brazilian team. And it's so sad
No,
for a team that has really dominated over the years.
I don't know what it is. Maybe Europe has less and less money, and the Europeans are developing their players, and they're bringing in foreigners and turning them into their own citizens. Like look at Barcelona. Most of their players are from other countries now. A lot of them, not most of them, but a lot of them are from other countries. Spain has Messi Yamal. He's from another country. Nico Williams. So I don't know what it is. The Brazilian players aren't getting developed. It must start from their domestic league. I don't know if their economy is bad or whatever, or the quality of the
I
domestic
actually
league must have
think
really
it's
dropped.
the domestic league because
And in
it,
their domestic league, they don't build up. They've never done it. They don't build up midfielders. At least when they in 1994, they had solid players in CDM, and they had
yeah,
guys like Roberto Carlos. But it just seems like the Brazilian game is lagging. They're not developing midfielders. They're not developing defenders, and they're not developing systems of play. And even when you look in Europe now, the Brazilian players are not really shining. Except, well, actually, Rafinha is shining. Let me not lie. Rafinha and Rivaldo, no, not Rivaldo, Rodrigo and Junior, but
Vinicius.
they're all forwards. There's no. Remember what was that guy that used to play for Brazil, Juninho, and all those guys?
Yeah,
They don't have these types of midfielders anymore,
no, they
and I
don't.
think this is the big problem for them. I don't even think they could beat African champions like a team like Senegal. I'm being real. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree
Or
with
Cote
you.
d'Ivoire? Or
I
Cote d'Ivoire? Yeah,
I agree with you. And if you look at their team now, in those days, the bulk of the Brazilian team were home based because they had a lot of talent playing in their domestic league. and then they'll bring on one or two, or three or four, stars in Europe. But these days, it appears that the quality of football has depreciated in the domestic league. Maybe they don't invest enough. I mean, look at Spain. Spain has elite academies, football academies that continue to churn out and develop young talent. I don't think they have anything like that anymore in South America.
Yeah,
It's
and the
affecting
Brazilian
their
style of
game.
football since the beginning of time, it's never been pressing. They don't press.
No, they
They
don't
just play
press.
free flowing football. It's not going to work anymore. Brazil,
Yeah,
you can have your best dribblers. They'll still produce the best dribblers in the world. They don't play tactically. Argentina has been playing tactically since the 1970s, and they play more like European teams. So yeah, so let's go to the stats of the game and see what's going on. I think that Argentina had the ball 56% of the game to 44%, and Argentina had 500 and something passes. So yeah, they had 527 passes to 425, 56. I mean, these numbers are bad, but it's not that bad. Pass accuracy 98 is even. But if you look at the big difference, shots,
shots. 12 shots
Argentina
to
had
three.
12 shots to 3. That is a result of having Macalista in midfield and having creative midfielders. Argentina is
Yes,
creating opportunities for goals. Brazil
yes,
does not have a creative player. They put Vinicius as an attacking midfielder, but Vinicius is not really a creator. He's a slasher. He runs for it. He's not going to
yeah,
work with the players. Argentina
yeah,
was using build up with passing
yeah.
amongst each other to build up. Brazil wasn't using that style. What are your thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. 12
Uh,
shots to three is very, very poor. And if you look at the stats, when you are having 12 shots, it means that the opposition spend most of the time around your 18-yard box. It shows
Yeah.
that they were able to dominate your defensive third, which shows
Yeah.
that they were really not good enough. And it shows that your
Yeah.
attackers didn't even get forward enough to be
Yeah.
able to shoot the ball. So this
Yeah.
is a damning
And
statistic.
can you imagine if Messi had played and Lautaro?
Lautaro
Can
and
you
Messi
imagine?
were even absent from this game.
Yeah. Sometimes that may even help the fluidity, but if those guys were there and well incorporated, I can't see Brazil ever beating Argentina. I can't see it. It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to
And
happen.
everybody
And
should watch out for Argentina. Argentina, to me, are still favorites to make it to the final. I have Argentina and Spain as the best teams in the world.
Argentina has qualified with that victory. From the little
Yeah, they've already
statistics,
qualified.
they've
Even before
qualified
that,
already.
so they're a
So
dangerous team. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
yeah, I'm looking at the Brazilian team, and I noticed that their midfielders aren't playing in Brazil, and they're not playing in Real Madrid or Barcelona. They're playing in teams like Newcastle and Wolves. And that's one weakness. A bigger weakness is whenever Brazil were lacking real top quality players,
Fabi, put it
they,
back on
they
regular screen. Yeah.
yeah, they would go back to their regular league to pick players that European teams aren't used to reacting to. But what's looking to happen now is that Brazil has become predictable because too many of their players are playing in Europe and they're not looking to their local leagues to beef up, especially that unpredictability, that beautiful part of the football that we love, the samba football of Brazil. It's from those raw players that play inside their league. And I think that they're not looking to their local league enough for players that can come out.
Yeah, but
They
here's the
prefer to
problem.
go with
They have Rafinha, they have Rodrigo, they have Vinicius. These are very smooth
yeah,
players.
yeah. Those are
You know how to
those are
change.
more those aren't creative players.
Yeah,
Those, like you
but
said,
here's the
they're
thing.
rushing players.
That's the point. Brazil doesn't have. First of all, they don't have any hard midfielders. They don't have CDMs. They don't have guys like Macalista, like all those guys that play for Liverpool. That's the first problem. Second of all, they dribble in circles and are fancy, but football has become very direct. And Brazil needs to. I think they need to Europeanize their game a little bit, not too much, a little bit. They need to
I thought
have.
it's too much the other way. I thought they need to be more Brazilian. I thought they were too
I don't know about that.
European,
They've
too
got.
predictable
You can't get more Brazilian
because their
than
players are all
Rodrigo.
European players,
Yeah.
European based.
Okay,
I
Kool-Aid.
thought they needed more
Name one.
Brazilian based
Kool-Aid, name
players
one Brazilian in Europe or England that's even a very competent number 10.
in Europe or England. They're
Oh
number
yeah,
10. They
anywhere in
don't
Europe.
have. They don't have
they
They
any.
don't
don't
have
have
it,
That's what
any.
I'm
and they
saying.
don't have the talent. You know
They
why?
They
don't
should go
Because
have
to
any.
South American
no,
teams
they
to
don't
pick
have it
there.
there. They're
That's
not
what I'm saying.
developing it.
Because those players will play in
Brazil
that
doesn't.
style.
When they look at it, the best 8 Brazilian players in the world are all wingers. Brazil has now their domestic league is only developing wingers. That's my point. What do you think of Falabi? Yeah.
I don't even think they are developing wingers at that kind of regularity. They don't have talent anymore. And look at it.
Brazil doesn't have talent.
I read that they didn't even qualify for the uh, under 23 Olympic tournament, which they have defended twice. So it shows that even at the FIBA level, the talent is beginning to diminish. So they need to
Yeah.
invest more. Look at what Spain is doing. It's a product of the excellence of their academies that is producing the
Yeah.
likes of Yamal.
And
We
this
don't
goes
see that
Brazil.
again in
They can't.
Brazil.
And Kula, you said this last year. You can't say that, oh, we are domestic league, then we'll send people to Europe. No, you have to develop them from your league. All these Argentine players, they're developed in Argentina by Boca Juniors and stuff. Brazilian teams aren't even winning in South America anymore. They, in Brazil, everybody can dribble and they play on the beach. But man, fucking football is getting real out here, man. You've got guys like Yamal who can drift. Yamal can play center forward if he wants to. He can play number 10. Almo can do the same thing on the wings. Nico Williams can go in the center. All of their players can play on both sides of the pitch, and they're basically ambidextrous. Football has changed. Gone are the days where you can just play on the streets and dribble. Same thing with Nigeria. If you go into the bridge, we have a million guys who can dribble like Okocha, but it's not working systemically. What do you think, Kunle?
Yeah, football is always constantly changing. So yes, it's changed into this form of football that I don't enjoy watching. This type of football, it's not fun. It's just all about being big, strong, and fast, and running and running. And when it's just about athleticism, and it's not
Well,
attractive
that's the
to
way it
watch.
goes.
And I
At
don't
the end
like
of the
that side
day,
of football.
at the
I
end of the
want
day,
us to still. I want football to develop back to what it was, and that is a
it won't. You
disadvantage
know
for
why it won't
Brazil
happen? It
because
won't happen
Brazil
that way
does
because
like.
if it goes back to that way, then the European teams won't be winning anymore. This
Yeah,
is a
Europe is trying to catch up and
Oh,
Europe
they've
is
already
trying
caught
to
up.
catch up and
They've already
overtake
caught
South
up.
America.
They've already caught up. Look at the last
Well,
couple of
we'll
World
see.
Cups.
Well, at the last World Cup,
When was the
South
last time
America
a
was
South
ahead.
American team won the World Cup at Falabi?
Argentina.
Oh, Argentina won. You're right. And even Argentina is because they play like Europeans. All of their players play for Real Madrid,
the way
Barcelona.
you look at it, in the group stages, the South American teams still tend to defeat the European teams more often in the group stages. So when that trend may start to change come 2026, if what I'm suspecting is going to happen, because this kind of football I don't like suits Europe. It doesn't really suit
let me tell you,
Brazil. But then
the top teams coming into
Brazil
the
does
World Cup.
better in hot climates when they play slower, when they play at a slower pace. When they're in cold climates, European teams tend to do better because they like to kick and follow.
Look, let me tell you something.
Run like
what was that World Cup where Germany beat
Robinson.
Brazil? What was it? Afolabi, Germany beat Brazil 7-1. Remember that?
Yeah, that was in Brazil. That was in Brazil when Brazil boosted.
Yeah,
what
I'm saying Brazil is finished. There's only one team. South America only has one team now, Argentina. And even that team, the Argentine team is made up of European Argentinians. All of them are of Spanish descendancy. Do you see what I'm saying?
Watch out for Uruguay.
I'm not even going to dignify that with the Uruguay ain't gonna do shit.
No, watch out for Uruguay. They're a good side.
Let me tell you the top teams in the next World Cup: Spain, Germany, England, Argentina, and
Portugal.
And who else? Who would you say?
Not Portugal. I don't rate Portugal.
No, not Portugal.
They've got their aging.
France. Who else? There's one more team I wanted to mention.
Not Belgium.
But what I'm saying is that it's leaning towards Europe right now. They're looking hot. Italy, they're looking very hot. Let's just say even Uruguay. South America only has 2 teams. Europe has about 5 or 6 teams that can win the World Cup. Africa, I don't know. So what I'm saying is that right now is a golden age for Europe in football. And the reason so is because of the economy. These guys, man, look at France and Spain and even Germany now, made up of foreigners. You get what I'm saying? They're taking the best talent out of Africa and especially Africa. They don't need to go to South America anymore because these South Americans are prima donnas. These Brazilian guys like Hendrick who want money. They'll just go to Ghana and take Nico Williams or go to Morocco and take this guy. And same thing with France. They take players from West Africa. So my thing is that Europe is going to keep winning because they have the money. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, the money is there. They have
and the system.
The biggest stadiums, and they have big leagues. They have marketing and sponsorship. So of course they are going to be dominating. I think the only exception is Argentina from South America. Europe are going to be dominating.
But those Argentinians, they are basically, all of them are white. None of them are dark skinned like the Brazilians. They're basically European. And they get along well with the Spanish. It's a racial thing too. And also the Europeans are smart. They don't want Brazil to do well. They won't bring Brazil's players they won't develop them. Look what they did to Hendrick. They didn't want to bring Hendrick. They said that he's too young, but they brought in what's his name? Yamal when he was 16 because he's Spanish. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the Europeans are also defending themselves. They won't develop someone who could and beat them in the World Cup. You get what I'm saying?
I think Argentina has evolved into a more modern team.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
And
they
they
are
have the best
playing,
CDMs in
yeah,
football.
the requirements
Since
of the modern
Mascherano,
game.
was Mascherano a CDM? Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Since
a
since
CDM,
Mascherano,
yes.
yeah, you can't
Javier
beat these guys in
Mascherano
the
was a
back.
CDM.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think Argentina has developed more into a modern team than Brazil has, because if I watch the highlights of that game, they were pressing, they were more physical, they were more
Yeah, Brazil
energetic.
doesn't press. They don't press. Yeah.
They were playing more penetrating passes, and Brazil could not even defend set pieces. There were schoolboy errors. If you watch all of the Argentine goals, from Julian Alvarez goal, McAllister's goal, and even Enzo Fernandez goal, they were all errors in the Brazilian defense. They were all at
Yeah,
6
yeah.
and 7. They were not
Yeah.
playing well at
Okay,
all.
we're gonna head out soon. Kunle, what are your last thoughts in general about this 4-0? It's not a big surprise because Argentina has been beating Brazil
Yeah,
consistently
I
for the
was
past
going to
20
say
years.
Argentina have been beating Brazil quite consistently
Yeah, yeah.
over the last few years. Brazil are not looking like the force they are. They've lost their way. They're trying to play Europe-style football, but it's not working out for them. I think that they need to throw everything away and start again. I think that even if they start, and they just need to start following they need to focus on their league and their style of football and reinvent themselves. And it's not going to happen quick enough in 2026. They should start now looking to maybe 2030 or the next Copa America.
Because they
But
have
right
talent.
now,
Brazil has a population of
yeah, they
200 million.
always have the
They have
talent. They
talent.
always
They
have the
have
talent.
talent.
But now European football is making it more about athleticism than talent, which I can't stand. And
Yeah,
the
but
game is losing.
I always say, Kool-Aid,
I
it's
hate
all
it.
about winning. It's not about beauty. It's about winning.
Yeah,
That's all.
well, I mean, it's all about entertainment first. And if it's not entertaining, then nobody's going to
Yeah,
watch
but here's
it.
the thing:
And then,
people will always watch football, so they don't need to entertain us. We will
people
watch it.
said that
Here's
Huddersfield
what I would
United
like.
would
Kool-Aid,
always be the greatest
this is a
football team in
philosophical difference. See, I look at football as war. War doesn't have to be beautiful; it has to be effective. So you take an aesthetic approach to football. I take a warrior approach. Just win. That's it.
What I'm saying is it's entertainment.
It'll be
Football,
like,
movies, acting.
it'll be like saying the Ukrainian soldiers, they are so beautiful. The Russians are ugly, but they killed them.
Yes.
All that
You know,
matters is
so
winning. Winning is the
and then
what's
when it
the
becomes
objective?
about that,
What's the objective of football? Is to win.
the more entertainment takes a background, then some other sport's going to come and overtake it.
No, nobody will ever. And here's my thing.
Nothing
And
is
here's another
permanent.
thing. It's just like chess. So, Fabi, here's my argument. Chess games. If you're a chess fan, you know it's not boring because there's tactics. You don't just look for dribbling. Same thing in football. Even when you're watching European games, you can see the build-up. You can see the tactics. You can see what Mourinho's doing.
It's
That is
dull.
beautiful. What you don't see it, Kule. What about you, Afalabi? Do you see it?
I understand what you're saying, both, and there's an effective German type aspect in football, which has a lot of audience as well. It's not just about entertainment at the level of World Cup. It's not
Sorry
just
to
about
interrupt
that.
you, Afalabi, but when you're watching Champions League and all this stuff, even when it's 1-0, let's not use the word entertainment. Is there tension?
Of course, there is.
As long as there's tension, tension is the same thing as
Of
entertainment.
course, of
The World
course.
Cup
I
is
understand what
there's
you're
tension.
saying. Of
Yeah,
course.
entertainment is different from tension. What people are really looking for is tension. You want to be sitting on your seat throughout the whole game. If I want entertainment, I'll watch the Globetrotters or Hot Shot Hamish. All right, go ahead, follow me. Sorry to cut in front of you.
I feel that the profile of players that are developing in the Brazilian league is not fit for the modern game. They need to invest in the academies so that the profile that is required, more physicality, more functional players that can press, then they can
Guys
begin
like
to
Bellingham.
Yes, people like that. So Brazil keeps bringing out this fancy dribbling, flick here, flick there. And right now, that's not just what is required. It is required. You need to blend it with a little bit of...
Perfect example, Harry Kane. Harry Kane can do everything. He can give a long lob from back. He can go forward. He can play as a midfielder. He's looking. Football now has become a game, and also where you have to be able to scan. The Brazilian players don't scan.
In Brazil, it's always been about showboating. And those days are long gone. You need a showboater that can even make football effective. So it's not just about
for example, like
showboating. And I think that's where the problem
last year they were saying Vinicius should be Ballon d'Or. I know they gave it to Rodri because Rodri is the most effective player in the world. And look at how Vinicius has dropped off. You get my point. People arguing over the ball. Vinicius and Mbappe arguing over who gets to touch the ball and score. They can do it. They can look beautiful, but they're still going to lose.
Look at the days of Ronaldo, Romario, Rivaldo, and all those big R's and Ronaldinho. They did the showboating, but they were effective with it.
And also, they had Ronaldo. Ronaldo was a pure number 9.
And they assisted. And they were scoring free kicks like regularly.
Yeah. Ronaldo could
Brazil
turn
was
his
based
back.
on a good defense. They had Cafu and Roberto
Yeah, but Brazil
Carlos.
doesn't
They
have
had
that
an
anymore.
excellent
They don't have
defense.
that.
Yeah, but they don't have those kind of fullbacks anymore.
Let's look at Ronaldo. Let's look at Ronaldo. Ronaldo was a pure number 9, like Haaland. Even better. He could turn his back to the goal. He could do everything direct. Brazil doesn't even have one number 9 that we can mention in the whole world.
Where are the Cafus and the Roberto Carlos of today?
Yeah. And even where's yeah, they're nowhere. They don't even have Hulk anymore. They don't even have Hulks. Remember that guy Hulk? They don't have any. Yeah, they're, to be honest, if you, Brazil is a second-rate team.
Even
now.
I dare say, where are the
team.
Casemiros? Where are the Casemiros of Brazil today? Casemiro is going to retire very soon. Who's going to replace him as a CDM? They don't have those kind of players anymore.
All right, so last thoughts, Kunle,